howling for you.
WolfcastTV. I'm your host Dario, and joining me is my co-host Chris.
Or we believe it's Chris.
Well, no, what's up with your face?
What do you mean? What's wrong with my face?
Well, I'm saying there's an improvement right now.
Well, you know, I'm drinking something on camera. I don't think I'm allowed to drink on camera.
Okay, we'll take it as that. But anyways, we're here to talk about the Toronto Wolfpack, as we always do. And just coming off a stunning victory over the Halifax RLFC. So congratulations to the Wolfpack. Chris, what'd you thoughts on the game?
It started out kind of rough. I wasn't sure where it was going. Halifax's defense was phenomenal. I think my game highlight would be there was one play where they ran it, I think it was almost the entire pitch.
Right. That was the one by Ross Thorne.
Yes, ended up being by Ross Thorne scoring, but passes the whole run of the pitch. Amazing play.
It was fantastic. I thought that did break the game. I think the score at that point was 10-6. It eventually turned out to be a 20-6 final, but the score wasn't indicative of how close the game was. But yeah, that was an excellent play there. Again, it was Richard Whiting who broke through the line.
Yeah.
And then him and Kay went back and forth a couple of times.
He's got the speed and the size.
Yes, again off the try he did last week as well, which was phenomenal. For myself, it's
one thing, and also remember that too. He's a local Halifax boy.
Yeah, putting on a little show there. Way to go, Nick. That's it. It's our boy. Speaking about local boy, one other thing I'd mention, again, one of our fan favorites from last year, Dan Fleming, but who did not play this game. I'm not sure in terms of who it was. Somebody jokingly said that it's part of his contract, not allowed to play against the Toronto Wolfpack. So, hey.
No bad blood.
No bad blood. For me, it wasn't a particular play that I thought in terms of the game itself, but one thing that I'd like to look at in terms of the Halifax game, it was the kicking part of it. I thought that was quite influential in terms of getting positioning across the field. But there's a bad and a good side. From Brierley's perspective, his conversions, they didn't go through properly.
Correct.
I think he hit one. Missed a few of them. Now again, they're on the outskirts.
Somewhere on the edge of the pitch.
And I don't know if that's a system of the Toronto way they play. Like most of the tries that they get are their wingers going to the end, not necessarily through the middle.
Part of it depends on who they're playing. I know I think it was the first game of the season, they played up the middle for most of the game. And then at that point, Lee's defense slowly came in towards the center, and at one point they got it onto the wings. So they get the other team accustomed to driving through the middle, and then pitch it out to the side, pitch it out to Lee, and pitch it out to the other side, and they get a try.
Yeah. But conversely, I thought one of the advantages that Toronto did have was also its kicking game. But in terms of how they managed it, Barley did well. There was the one try by Higson at the end there, which was a lovely little kick. But even before that, with regards to when Josh McCrone was in the sin bin to do time. A couple of times Ryan Bartley kicked it out of bounds properly.
Beautiful.
So, again, very strong kicking game in that regards. It's just putting it between the posts.
Yeah. It didn't work for him. And, we're 3 games into the season, but the other aspect of the kicking, like you said, is those little grubber kicks, get them in, put them through, and then bring the men down. Or at one point, I think they dragged the defender or the receiver of the kick out to the sidelines. Get the ball back.
Exactly. So,
and last year, I would have had absolutely no idea what was going on, why they were doing that, why did they drag him out, why did they get the ball back. Now, as I understand the game a little bit more, it's starting to make sense. Make more sense.
No, and I think, again, to me, it maybe either we're noticing it more, but I think the kicking game is becoming a much bigger factor this year than it was last year as well.
In regards to, as opposed to running plays and keeping it up going, but including it in their game strategy.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not sure if that's just us becoming more aware of it, or whether they're doing it more.
Maybe it happened last year too. We're like, who knows?
Maybe there wasn't a need as much in terms of the level of competition. Same with, I was surprised, they did kick a penalty.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a strategic time. Again, they were up 10-6, kicking the penalty, making it 12-6, so that if Halifax were to score, they would have had to make the conversion to keep
draw
the
it
game
up.
in time.
Yeah.
And so it was one thing that I had questioned Coach Powrali last week on whether they should do a drop kick. So I didn't think it was in his coaching decisions to be able to do that. I know last year he always said he wanted to play the most beautiful style of rugby league. So kudos to Coach Powrali for making that call there. And
kudos to you for passing on that information to Rowley. Maybe he listened to you.
No.
No, you don't think so?
No.
Confidence,
No
Jerry. A little confidence in your abilities.
I know where I'm going with this. Trust me. It's all you, Coach, all you. But no, otherwise, a fantastic game, 26 the final score, which sets up next week's tilt against the London Broncos, the league-leading London Broncos, if I'm not mistaken. So
next week's tilt?
I don't know if that's an appropriate word, but I'll use that.
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't know. Is that another term for a game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or like a match kind of thing.
Never heard that.
I
I'm still learning.
Okay. Or it could be just that I'm a little
Tilted?
Tilted, yeah. We'll take it that way in regards. But now what we're going to do, we'll go back to some other interesting games that happened this week in Championship. So here's our Championship League recap. Before we begin, a big thank you and grand merci to Toulouse Olympique, who have given us permission to use their footage. Thank you so much for your kindness, and let's help grow rugby league together. We'll start off at Toulouse as Sheffield came to visit. Now the Eagles got off to a great start, scoring in the 8th minute here with their try. And it took a little while, but Toulouse did get back on track, scoring a couple of tries themselves to get into the half 8-6. It was pretty much an uneventful first half until... Oops. Let's take a look at that hit again. Wow, crushing. No penalties were issued. Now, the second half was all Toulouse. And as we start talking about the other games that happened this weekend, let's enjoy the video highlights of all the tries as Toulouse mounted 42 points in the second half to finish off the game 50-6. Now, after missing the first 2 rounds due to poor weather and postponing this match an extra day to fit in a soccer game, the Rochdale Hornets, yes, side note, I did pronounce it incorrectly before, I do apologize, I have since been corrected. The Rochdale Hornets finally got their 2018 season underway. Although, after what happened in that first half, they may want to have been postponed even more. The Dewsbury Rams came in and went on a 32-0 lead in that first half. The good news for the Hornets, though, is that the second half was a much tidier affair, with each side only scoring 6 points, making the final 38-6 for the Rams. Our next stop has Lee Centurions visiting the Barrow Raiders, both teams that the Toronto Wolfpack have already played this season. It was a back-and-forth start to the game where the lead changed 5 times, but it was Shane Toll who capped off a hat-trick in the 71st minute that gave Barrow Raiders a stunning 24-20 victory. Batley Bulldogs went into Swinton and defeated them 48-28. Quite a streaky affair, as the Bulldogs scored 20 first-half points in 18 minutes. And to outdo that, they scored another 22 points in 12 straight minutes in the second half, with incredibly 8 different players scoring for Batley. Our final stop had second place Featherstone Rovers dropping by and visiting first place London Broncos with the top of the table clash. Now, I'd like to say that this was all Broncos in a 44-24 victory, but I'm almost tempted to say that this was a Jared Samet total victory, as he wound up scoring 26 out of those 44 points. Be an interesting person to follow and keep an eye on, as the now second place Toronto Wolfpack will next week visit the first place London Broncos for another top of the tails match, and I'm definitely looking forward to that.
There are as well a few other games going on, as always. And we have, first of all, the Barrow Raiders visiting the Batley Bulldogs, Swinton going to Dewsbury, Sheffield Eagles visiting the Featherstone Rovers, Halifax visiting Rochdale, and finally, in an interesting match, Toulouse visits Lee Centurions. And that also finishes off this episode of Wolfcast TV.